What is up, my friends? Today we got one hell of a show for you, because we don't just have one figure, not two figures, hell, not even just three figures. We got 4 figures in the house. This right here is the Walmart exclusive Clone Wars line from Star Wars The Black Series. It's time for an Nerdgasm. Welcome back, my friends, to another unboxing video. If this is your first time on the channel, we do a lot of talk about collecting. I myself am a huge Star Wars collector, and that's what I love talking about, and that's what I do the most. So if you're into Star Wars like me, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all of the content. Now, I gotta give a big shout out to my boy Rob, because he's actually the one that was able to find these. Down here in Florida, these 4 figures are a real pain in the ass to find. So this is the next 4 wave on the Clone Wars line. This is Ahsoka Tano. We got the 332nd Ahsoka Clone Trooper. We got a Mandalorian Loyalist, and we got the Mandalorian Super Commando. Now, the first in the line was this one right over here. It was the Commando Clone Trooper. I picked this one up over at Big Bad Toy Store. If you want to go ahead and get yourself one, I think it's still available there. But they make an entire set, and I think Cad Bane is the 6th in the line. If you get the Cad Bane version that looks like this box, not the exclusive one that came from Hasbro Pulse. So if you're looking to get that one's also available on Big Bad Toy Store if you wanted to pick that up. So I'm gonna bring you guys in a little bit closer so you can take a look at these boxes, because the boxes on these are pretty dope. And then we're gonna unbox them. I'm gonna put them in some poses, put them through their paces like I always do, you know, show you the articulation and all that jazz, and then give you my final thoughts. So if you're interested in these figures, stay tuned, because we're about to get into it. All right, so there you have it. These are all 4 of the figures from the Walmart exclusive line. You can see they look pretty cool. I love the box sets on these. I'm gonna line them up here in just a little bit and show you what they look like, but let's go over each one. So here you go. Here is the Mandalorian Super Commando. Now this one and this one is pretty cool. If you were looking just to get 2 of them, I would definitely recommend grabbing these 2, because these are pretty dope. This is the Mandalorian Loyalist on this side. Here's the Mandalorian Super Commando. Now, what's cool about the Mandalorian Loyalist is he was one of the Mandalorians that traded sides on Death Watch when Darth Maul killed Pre Vizsla. So I'm kind of hoping they bring Pre Vizsla also. That would be dope. But basically, I mean, this is what they look like before they changed their armor to this, and this is the Super Commando, which this is what you see by the end of the Clone Wars in season 7. So this is during the final episodes when they did the siege on Mandalore. The most notable of the Mandalorian Super Commandos is Gar Saxon, but I really like the armor because it has the horns, because they're following Darth Maul. So that's these 2 right here. And another cool thing about this one here is the Night Owls actually still wear the blue armor. So, I mean, he can kind of fit in a little bit, but I mean, it's not meant to be. So that's not what the point of that is. So dope, all right. Then you have Ahsoka Tano. I love the way this figure looks when I saw it on the box. Now, what's weird here is the art, you know, shows more of like a realistic take on her, kind of. Doesn't really look like the figure itself, because they did an awesome job about making this look like the animated version of Ahsoka Tano. So that was really cool. And then you have the Clone Trooper. This is the 332nd Battalion. Now initially, this was part of the 501st. This clone was part of the 501st. To show his gratitude or his loyalty to Ahsoka Tano, this particular battalion repainted their helmets to make them look more like, you know, to go in line with Ahsoka. So I think that was pretty neat. And that also, again, was from season 7 of the Clone Wars. Now, what's cool about all of these is that when you line them up in such a way, you get some really cool art along with it. So let's see, there's 3, let's go 4. All right, and 5, and then you get this image here. Let's see if it all stays in line there. And then if you grab in the first one, which this one will go here, all right, and then you get this scene, which I think this is really cool when, you know, you line them up like that and you put them on display. I think that's really dope. So that's one way to do it. You know, if you want to take and just line them up and keep them in the box, or you can have it like this. I don't know how well that would look. Let me see. Yeah, it still looks pretty cool like that too. So that's a way to put them too. But without further ado, let's get these things out of the box and we'll go over the figures. All right, so first up out of the gate, we got Ahsoka Tano. Look at that. She's looking really, really nice. Love the way this figure looks. So this has her Clone Wars Season 7 look to her, so I think that's really good. The figure itself looks really good. Has See how many kind of articulation we got here. We got some pretty good articulation from the looks of it. We're gonna go over that in just a second, but let's just stick with the look right now. Has that season 7 look to her, which looks really, really awesome. I love the paint way. I especially love the portrait. Let me sit there and show you guys. Check out this portrait. Look at that. That is fantastic. That looks just like her in the season 7 episode. They did an amazing job on the paint. Everything about it, I think, just looks really, really, really good. So awesome, awesome job on that. You get these lightsaber hilts, the offhand lightsaber. So that's one option right there, all right? And it has the blade in it. And then you get the second lightsaber. There you go. So this one here is the longer blade, the main lightsaber. And again, a blue blade just like she had in season 7. All right, so let's see how much she can move. So the head can turn left to right. The headdress here kind of gets in the way a little bit, especially when you want to look up and down. So let's see what we got for up and down movement. She can look so far down, but the back piece here gets in the way from her turning up. So you really don't get that much head movement going up and down, all right? But side to side works. You can cock the head side to side as well. So that's pretty cool, all right? Arm movement, you can get your arms going about that far. So she has some very good extension there in the arm. Very good, I like that. Front, she can go about that far front, and she can go all the way back. So you got a lot of play here with the arms. In the elbows, it could turn about that much, right? And then in the wrists, you can twist them. There is a little bit of play in the wrist, so you can, turn it in like that. So I think that's really cool. So you have that extension and compressing of the wrist. You can also tilt it back out like that. So lots of play in the wrist. That's very cool. In the waist itself, you have a turn here at the chest area. So above, but not exactly on the waist itself. So the waist itself can't turn, but you do have some play in the chest, and that can turn left and right. You can have it tilt a little bit down, and you can definitely go all the way back. So that's cool, all right? So let's go to the legs. Legs, you can go forward like that. You can get your knees turned that way. You got double joints in the knees. You can go all the way back here like that. So you get a lot of play in the legs. Very, very good. The ankles, you can turn it all the way down like that. So you can go tilt it forward. You can tilt back. You can turn side to side, and it can twist. At the calf itself, there's no turn at the calf, but you got a lot of play in the ankles. I think this figure right here is gonna be really, really awesome to pose. All right, so let's get a pose going on with her. All right, so there's the pose. This one actually took me a little bit to get through. Now, the only reasoning that it was a little bit hard was because her joints are so delicate that they barely hold her weight, especially in these dynamic poses like this. And then the skirt gets in the way of the legs, so you can't really pull back too far on it. It's about as far as I can get with the dynamic look on the legs without her tipping over. But still really cool. Probably a more basic pose, like her walking forward with the lightsabers in back would be probably an easier one to pull off, but I was trying to go for that whole, season 7 look where she, jumped off the ship and there was an explosion happening behind her. So that's what I was trying to go for. But anyway, let's move on to the next figure. All right, next up we have the 332nd Clone Trooper, the Ahsoka Trooper. Now this one here already I can feel is a lot stiffer than the Ahsoka was. So the joints in here feel a lot stronger. So hopefully we can get some other types of poses with this guy, see what's up. All right, so right away I like the colorway that's going on. He's got the blue armor going on like the 501st Battalion, but then you have that orange spray paint helmet. So let's take a look at that helmet up close. There you go. Check that out. Looks really good. I think they did a nice job on that. Very, very nice work, all right? It's probably my favorite thing about it. And you have some other details like the belt, which looks dope. I like the design on that. And you have the black ways there where you can see the undergarments and everything. So very, very neat. All right, before we get into posing, I forgot to show you the weapons that it comes with. So you get the blaster rifle like that. And then you get the, what I guess is like a sniper type of gun. Sniper rifle here, so you get that as well. All right, let's see what kind of articulation this guy has. So you got the helmet. The helmet can turn left, right, go all the way around if you want to, okay? You can go about that far back, going backwards. You can go down about that far like he's looking at Yoda. So you have that type of a movement with the helmet. Arms can go about that far up. Looks like the shoulder pads here are made of like a soft plastic, and it looks like they can fold over onto the chest, or the chest armor. So that's cool, the upper torso. So that gives you a little bit more movement here in the arms. So very good. All right, you can't twist over here. You can't really twist over there. So there's no turning at that point. Let's see if you can bend at the elbows. You can bend at the elbows about that far, okay? The wrist has similar motion like with Ahsoka. You can tilt forward and back like that. All right, so cool. I feel good with some good movement there. In the chest area, there's no movement at the waist, okay? But you can move the chest. The chest can turn this way and this way, all right? You can go that far back. You can go that far forward, all right? Moving into the legs, you can go that far forward with the legs. The armor here does get in the way a little bit, and you can barely go back with the leg going backwards. So the upper leg, the thigh won't do that much. The thigh can turn around, so you can get a little bit of joint movement there. The knee is double jointed, so you have a double joint in the knee, and you can go about that far back with the leg when you do it that way. The knee pad doesn't seem to move with the double joint, so that's not happening. It kind of stays where it is. So, all right. The calf muscle, or the calf section, can turn, all right, and then you have barely, there you go. You can extend the ankle, you can tilt it back. It does feel very, very stiff, so you at least should be able to hold his position when you put him in a pose. So let's see what kind of pose we can get this guy into. All right, there you have this clone. Looks like he's getting ready to shoot some people with it, with the gun, so dope. Like I said, he's very stiff, so there's it does hold his position very well. He has a lot of balance compared to Ahsoka. One thing about this one that I really wasn't feeling is over here at the knees. I kind of wish there was a bend at the top of the knee and at the bottom of the knee. There seems to be only this bend here at the very bottom of the knee. Either that, or I'm just not pulling hard enough, but I felt like I was gonna break it if I pulled any further, so. But yeah, that's your positions right there. So there's a pose for this guy. Let's get the next one out of the box. All right, so now the next one up is the Mandalorian Loyalist. This guy is looking very, very cool. I love the blue and the gray colorway on this one. So again, this is the Clone Wars earlier version of the Death Watch Mandalorian that joined with Darth Maul. So it doesn't have the Death Watch signets on the armor. They got two different signets on here. Not really certain what these signets mean. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you guys. Okay, so there's one of the signets right there. I don't know what that is. And then the other signet is that one. And I don't know what that is either. So not really certain what those do, what they mean. I love that they give you these details like here in the arm bracer right here, and you got hoses going into the back there. Very similar to like what I've seen maybe like in a Boba Fett suit. So that's really dope, all right? And I love the details on the helmet itself. I mean, look at that. Helmet looks really nice. The blue and the gray just looks really dope. I would love to own some armor like this. All right, for gear, you get the Mandalorian Loyalist jetpack. All right, cool. And you get a pair of pistols, all silver. All right, articulation time. So you could turn the helmet all the way around, so that's full turn in the helmet. Going up and down, you have that range going up, and you have that range going down. So you can look down, and he's got about that much going up, all right? In the shoulders, the shoulder pads here tuck into the armor, so that's where you can get a full spread like that, which is cool, okay? Just like with the clone, you don't have any turn. You can turn the arm all the way around like that. All right, so forward, back, and all the way around. You have no turn at the top of the bicep, but down here at the bottom of the bicep, you do have rotation right there. So that's cool. You can turn about that much in on the shoulder, on the elbow, I'm sorry. All right, so about that much in on the elbow. On the wrists, you can turn back about that much. You can go forward about that much. So you have, again, extension like that. And then you can also twist the wrist all the way around. So you have that kind of motion there. Now in the waist here actually turns. So you have some play in the waist, but you have nothing in the chest. So you can't go back or forward on the chest. It just is stiff, and that's about it. So it's gonna be kind of like Frankenstein in that sense. Legs can go about that far forward. Legs in the back have about that much, it can go about that far back, okay? The knees on this one, do they have a double joint? Yes. The knees on this one have a full double joint, so you can go all the way back like that, so that's cool. All right? And do you have any turn at the, yeah, and you can turn at the height of the thigh. So you got that kind of play. In the calf muscle, you still don't have any kind of turn at the calf. Okay, on the ankle, you can extend pretty far out, almost at a straight forward like that, like he's doing ballerina. So that's kind of neat. And you can go about that far back here on the ankle. So you have that kind of play and side to side motion. All right, there you go. The Mandalorian Loyalist, looking like he just came in for a landing, got his guns all out and everything. I like this pose a lot. I think this one came out pretty good, kind of on accident. The joints on this one are very, very stiff. So it holds pretty well when you put them into position. The problem with this one is that since there's no play in the chest, the jetpack does that to it. So it kind of like either is it either goes backwards or it goes forward. So you almost need to have displays with all of these if you want to get it into some pretty cool dynamic poses. But overall, I think this one here so far, it looks really cool. Probably my favorite so far that I've seen. Until I get to this next one. The Super Commando, I think, is going to take the cake. So let's get to that one. All right, so next up we have the Mandalorian Super Commando. Now this one here, from the looks of it, is basically the exact same mold as the Mandalorian Loyalist. Only difference between this one and that one, obviously, is the colorway. They did some differences in the shoulder pad, so you have like some, I don't know, the horns or something that come off the shoulder pad, and then you have these Darth Maul resembling horns on the helmet. And I'm going to give you guys a little close up here of how all of that looks. So here is the helmet. Check that out. Love the way the horns look. That looks freaking bananas. And I love the shoulder pads. That looks really cool as well. And then the black and the red and the gray, I think looks fantastic. So really nice look. Other than that, everything else is identical. They got the same looking gauntlets on the arms, the bracers on the arms, I mean, with the hoses. All right, just like with the Loyalist, you get identical looking pistols, except these are colored in more of like a charcoal gray or like a gunmetal gray than the silver that we got with the Loyalist. And you get a jetpack just like you do with the Loyalist, except again, it's more of a darker color with red accents. All right. All right, so let's talk about the articulation with this guy. So he is very similar, like I said, to the Mandalorian Loyalist. So there's actually no differences in the way this guy moves. So I'm gonna just make a quick run of this. You can turn the head all the way around like you could with the Mandalorian Loyalist. You can go up that far, down that far. There's actually a lot of upward and downward movement. No side to side action on that. The shoulder pads still go inside into the torso armor. These horns that I'm gonna call it, these horns that come off of the shoulder pads, they actually are like a rubber, so they kind of tuck in a little bit underneath there, so that's all it does. The arms can go all the way around, so you have that. You have turn at the bottom of the bicep. You can go about that far on the elbow. There's only a single joint, and then the arm bracer gets kind of in the way. The wrist do the same action as with the Loyalist, and you can turn it side to side and all the way around as well. So that's there. You have movement at the waist, but nothing in the chest. You can go that far with the leg and that far back with the leg. You have some turn at the top of the thigh, but again, the gun holster gets kind of in the way. You do have double jointed knee action, so you can get the foot all the way back like that. All right, so that's cool. And then in the ankle, you got the same thing. You can tip your toe out that far. You can go back like that, side to side, and it can turn like that. So no turning at the calf at all. All right, so let's get him in a pose, see what we can do. All right, so there's a knocked out pose real quick. Looking like, I'm assuming he's about ready to get into battle, or like he's maybe about to get hit by a rocket or something. I don't know. I really don't know what I was going for here. I do like the pose though. I think this one posed a little bit easier for me because I was used to it with the Loyalist. Just like with the Loyalist, there are some things that hinder your ability to pose them in some exciting poses, and mostly in the chest. You don't have that forward and back ability, so the weight of the jetpack kind of gets in the way a little bit. So that's all I can say about that. Let's get them all out here though and see how they look together. All right, so here they are all together. So I think that they complement each other pretty well. I do think Ahsoka looks a little bit on the tall side when compared to the clone trooper. I thought that she was a little bit shorter, but you know, I could be wrong. I'd have to look at the video again and see what that's like. Overall, I think the design of these figures are fantastic. I think they did a great job with the paint application, with the sculpting, with all of the details that they're throwing onto these figures. They are next level looking figures. I think that's fantastic. As far as posability goes, I think that they're okay. All of them have their little issues with posing. I really wish that they would do something about maybe making the articulation uniform. You know, if they're gonna give double joints in the knees, I wish they would just give it to all the characters, or you know, give something that makes it easier to pose that complements the figure. Like I feel that in the Mando's cases, having the ability to move their chest would have been a great option for these. So since of the because of the jetpack, and that would make it a little easier to balance and wouldn't make them look as stiff in some of the poses. And then in the clone trooper, they needed double joints in the knees so that you can really get some more action poses in the legs. He looks kind of stiff, you know, very Frankenstein. And then in the case of Ahsoka, she's very fragile in her joints, and it's almost like trying to stand up toothpicks, you know. And so that's why I feel like there's something missing in that sense when it comes to posing, which is what I like most about having figures. But otherwise, as far as displayability goes, I think they all look really good. So very fantastic set. You can pick up these, like I said, over at Walmart if they're still on the shelves. Like, they're really hard to find down here, or otherwise eBay. So definitely look out for them. Thanks guys for joining me. Leave a message in the comments below and let me know which one is your favorite figure, or what do you think about this entire line. As always guys, until next time, keep it marvelous and may the force be with you.